Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Friday, October 21st. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you're someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. First off, a couple clarification points. Number one, this price you see over here will be moving around. And then also the candlesticks will still be moving around. That's because the market's still open for a small amount of time. But I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement here on video. And then second, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks here represents 30 minutes worth of time. So stock number one here, NXTP, explosive move, big volume, and now we have ourselves a very, very nice pattern. So let me be very clear. I'm not trying to impress you. I'm not trying to imply that me drawing these lines here is some sort of special talent or a great discovery. I assure you a lot of people are drawing these lines. Let me change that to green to represent more so the bullish dynamic. And I say all that because when a lot of people are watching the same levels, wondering the same things, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want, it can produce some very dynamic movements. So to make this a little easier to see, let's just keep it one color. So we have our resistance, we have our support, we have the big momentum move right there, and this would be known as a bull pennant pattern. Now, there are no guarantees in the market, but my point here is this. Is it plausible? Is it valid to think that if the price comes up to the top part of this pattern and gets a break up through it, that break in and of itself could create additional buying pressure? That is certainly not a guaranteed outcome, but a more than plausible outcome that could happen. So if you like to play penny stocks, if you like to play bull pennant patterns, here you go. Next one, SKLZ. Same general idea of the one I just talked about. So I'm going to move through this very quickly because I don't want to sit here and waste your time when there's no need to explain things further because you just saw this. But we have a resistance level right there. We have our support down here. In fact, let's give a little more wiggle room and get it down by that pink line there. The 200 period moving average, change that to green to again represent the area of support. And then to keep this all the same color, we have our resistance, we have our support, we have our move right there, or our momentum. So we have ourselves another bull pennant pattern. Now this is priced, this is not a penny stock, we are up over $1. So if you like to play stocks a little bit higher priced, here you go with another bull pennant pattern. Next, MULN, and this is a little tricky chart to talk about from a presentation standpoint because there's a lot of perspective that goes into it. What do I mean? Well, if you're a day trader, flipper, scalper, whatever you want to call yourself, and you bought right there, maybe you bought right there and your plan was to buy and sell within 10 minutes, well then yeah, from that perspective, the chart looks really bad because there was a big pullback today. However, if you care about the big picture point of view, as I said, yes, big pullback here today, but let's look at where the lows were coming in at, right around this area right here, where when you compare them with those lows right here and those lows down there, and if you envision each one of those as stair steps, what do you have? Again, emphasis on big picture. Well, from the big picture, you still very clearly have stair steps progressing in the upwards direction. So from that angle of things, the trend is still totally healthy. Once again, I understand if you're a day trader that bought right there, you don't care about these stair steps, but that's why I'm trying to make a big distinction between are you some sort of day trader scalper, or are you somebody that cares more so about the big picture point of view? So overall, depending on your point of view is going to determine whether or not this is a bullish or bearish chart. But assuming you do care about more so the big picture point of view, yeah, big pullback today, but the price does still have that chance and opportunity and has built that higher base. So let's see if the trend can continue over the next few days. Next one, AMC, and overall, a solid day given the context of the markets kind of all over the place too. Yeah, it did have a strong morning that did roll back over, but I mean, think about it. What happens if this rollback had sent it back to these lows right here, or worse yet, had sent it even down further? I mean, that would have been a really, really bad day. So sure, was it the most exciting day? Did it, was it firing on all cylinders? It didn't, but like I said, to try to look at the glasses maybe half full, it certainly could be looking a whole lot worse. And then we look at the last 30 minutes right here. You can see good solid green candle here forming. So we'll see if that can continue. But there's still a whole lot of work that needs to be done. And the big bit of quote unquote work that needs to be done, and this will mean more to those that have watched past videos, is all about the pink line right there, the very famous, the very well-known 200 period moving average, which over time has rejected the price down several times. So don't get me wrong, this last 30 minutes is solid. There's a nice little uptrend right here that's starting to form. That's a good thing. But really, from a more so broader standpoint, I would say nothing to get too excited about until the price can at least prove itself in the form of not only getting above that pink line, but staying up above it. And I make that distinction because if we look here, you can see that right there, the price actually did get slightly above it, did not stay above it. Right there, got slightly above it, did not stay above it. So keep that in mind as a component to that 200 period moving average right there. But again, to be fair, nice solid move this last 30 minutes. Nice recovery after a pretty big pullback right there. So let's see if it can build upon itself on Friday. Next one, TSLA. Tesla had earnings today, and as I talked about in yesterday's video, kind of mapped out a couple of broader levels, and this lower broader level here ultimately did hold as support down around this 205 mark, if I remember. No, excuse me, 206 did hold as support, and that's definitely going to be a key area to watch moving forward. Although now that we have more data, I am going to go ahead and adjust this level down because it seems as though the more accurate level of support now is going to be right there at that 205 mark. So 205, if this bounce does come back down like AMC, good solid final 30 minutes here to the day. So if this move does come back down though, you got to think that a lot of people are going to be watching that level and wondering, do we get a bounce there or do we get some sort of breakdown? And that's the idea of a watch list, to find those unique, to find those interesting situations and not randomly rush out and do anything, but at least just watch it and see how the price behaves. So, you're going to have people that are looking to buy puts. If the price breaks below it, you're going to have people looking to buy calls if there's some sort of bounce. Somebody's going to be right, somebody's going to be wrong, and that's why risk management matters. But, the underlying dynamic here is that 205 is going to be a mark that a lot of people are watching. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of all these other lines for now. No need to create clutter and confusion because there's lines everywhere. If this bounce does continue, then the key level here that really seems to stand out right now, going to be right up there at the 214 mark, so keep a close eye on that. But yeah, very eventful day today, and let's see if this bounce is going to turn into something larger, or is this just a temporary little dead cat before it comes back down and breaks through 205. I think Friday's going to be a very, very entertaining day. Real quick, wanted to take a break and personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online training that I'm offering. So if you've been enjoying what you've seen and you want to learn more about this tool and how it can and should be used, then I want you to get signed up for the free training. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link in the description box. If you're watching at my site, there's an area right there on the webpage you can click to get signed up. Now, one special note, because it genuinely is a live event, couple things. Maybe as a father of 5 kids, I get it. You already have something on your schedule tonight, so you may not be able to attend because, like I said, your schedule is booked up. Or maybe you're watching this Friday morning and you just flat out missed the training itself. Go ahead, drop me an email, and I would be happy to send you a link to the recording, clay@claytrader.com. Again, Clay, C-L-A-Y, @claytrader.com. And I'll put a link at later on in the video. But go ahead, send me an email, and that way, because the event will be recorded, I would be happy to send you a link to that recording when it's done. Now, if you can make it live, then definitely get signed up, and hopefully I'll see you here in a few hours. Next one here, AMD, and not a whole lot to report if you watched past videos, but if you didn't, just really quickly, what we've been tracking is this big old sideways channel. And I mean, now we have multiple days of the price being trapped, and we have yet again a day where the price came up here to the top of the channel right around 60 and slightly broke above it, but failed back below, which again, as I think it was AMC, got to be careful of, because this thing does have a track record of slightly breaking above that channel and then saying, hey, just kidding, and then falling back below it. So you want to be wary of that moving forward if the price does recover and get up through there. And you also want to be very careful of that 200 period moving average. So even if you do get the breakout here, just based on the nature of moving averages, it just happened to quote unquote move itself now, not that far right up above the top part of a potential pattern breakout. So keep that in mind if 60 is broken. And then as far as supports, nothing here has changed. Still got that level down there at 56. But overall, like I said, the sideways channel continues to hold strong. But the longer it does hold strong, the more and more that self-fulfilling prophecy type attribute comes about, because there's just going to be that many more people that see the channel. Next one, COMS, penny stock here that got a lot of volume a few days ago. And so far, which is what makes it interesting, is holding up very nicely. Depending on how new you are with penny stocks, I'm sure you're not shocked where you see something break out and then come back down and it just keeps on going down, the classic pump and up. But that hasn't happened here. Yeah, it made a huge move. Yeah, it came down quite a bit, but it has now started to go sideways for the past couple of days. Now, let me be very clear. I wish I could say trading was as easy as, oh, hey, it's going sideways. Therefore, this is for sure the bottom. It's going to turn itself around. That's not the point. The point is it at least becomes plausible, at least becomes logical to question and think maybe this is some sort of bottom that has formed, because you can see right here, nice. In fact, there's a slight little uptrend there that has formed. So you're going to want to keep a close eye on that. Change that to green for support. And then as far as self-fulfilling prophecies and breakout areas, you got to think that a lot of people are watching right up there at that trend line right there, which puts it essentially at the 12-cent mark. So like I mentioned earlier, are there guarantees? No, but is it plausible? Is it valid to think that if the price gets up there, breaks through that level, that could set off some sort of self-fulfilling prophecy where people are buying just because it's breaking out? That's certainly a valid outcome. But overall, like I said, what's interesting is this thing has not collapsed back into oblivion. It is, building this higher base here. So let's see if there's some gasoline left in the tank for Friday. Next one here, AAL, earnings, and started off the day very, very, well, I guess crazy. Nice at one point because the price had come all the way up here, but you can see in that same 30 minutes, then the price ultimately closed down there. And then from there, just essentially drifted downwards. However, what I like about this one is you have some very well-defined levels. And the first level is going to be the bottom part, or that trend line right there, which let me change that to green because it is a support. And then let me get their level of resistance in play too. And you have that area of resistance right there up at 1380. So these levels, I think, are going to stand out to a couple sets of people. That one right there, I think the shorts are definitely going to be very interested in that, meaning you're going to have people saying, if this breaks, I'm picking up puts. I'm just going to short the stock itself. You're also probably going to have some people saying, no, I think it's going to bounce off that level. So it goes back to the whole talking point of somebody will be right, somebody will be wrong. So risk management matters. But the point here being is, that's a trend line that stands out quite a bit. So you got to think a lot of people are watching it. Or if the price does get the bounce off that level, 1380 really does stand out. So I would call that another one of those self-fulfilling prophecy points too, and that the breakout players are going to be more so concerned about, if the price can get up there and then potentially, take some sort of breakout trade that, brings it back up to those highs up there. So overall though, at the core, these are going to be the levels that I think make the most sense to potentially build trade plans around. So keep an eye on it. Next one, PLTR, and like this because it's got some good, solid, well-defined levels, especially for those of you that like to play breakouts. So the breakout levels come in two forms. The first is there is this top part of this overall movement here, which puts the price right up around $8.32. But if you want to try to play in anticipation of that break, something you could do is get that trend line in place there, meaning I could see you building the premise of, you know what, if this level here fails, so if the price can break through that level on a good, solid, high volume, then I think this is only going to be a minor speed bump at that point because that would be a good, solid breakout right there. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen. I'm not saying that's what you should do because, you're going to be a different trader than I am. I'm just saying that I can understand the logic there of somebody using that trend line right there as more so the anticipation point. Make that a little different. There we go. The anticipation point of a break of right around that 832 mark. In terms of levels of support, I'll zoom in here. The level that I would say is very important moving forward is going to be down there around $7.90. Not saying this will occur, but just for explanation's sake, if the price were to come down to $7.90 and then break down below it, what is that doing to the price? That would quite literally be putting the price, right back to where it was before this nice bounce happened. And price movements with genuine bullishness are not going to go back to where they were, right? They're going to show at least some sign of progress, and I would define staying above $7.90 as a sign of progress. Next one here, TQQQ, which is an ETF that allows you to take advantage of the NASDAQ market. So if you think that the NASDAQ market is going to rise, then this would allow you to get involved with that at a much lower price, and been following this one for quite a while. And this will mean more to those of you that have watched the past few videos. But if you have, you know that I've been talking about that green line over and over again. And look at this, the power of charts. So again, I'll use that as a quick plug. Get signed up for that free training or just drop me an email. But check it out. Price made a move up, came back down, and then look right where the price decided to start to go sideways. Right at $19.20. In fact, closed at $19.21. So a point here being is that this level has become that much more of a self-fulfilling prophecy type dynamic where you're going to have all sorts of people curious about it, and rightfully so. Those shorts are going to be saying, you know what? I think it's about to fail. The longs are going to be saying, the bounce players are going to be saying, no, it's bounced from there many times before. I think it's going to bounce again. So manage that risk as always because somebody's going to be right, somebody's going to be wrong. But the underlying and common denominator here is $19.21 has proven yet again to be a very, very important level that you're going to want to keep an eye on. And in my mind, that is the massive question here. What happens with 1920? Because remember, if this fails, and that does mean that the NASDAQ market itself is failing too. And that could, start to send the price down into some bigger areas of the chart where it could pick up quite a bit of bearish momentum. But like I said, you got to give credit where credit's due. 1920 has also proven to be very stubborn. So we'll see if the bulls can remain stubborn and then create some sort of bounce. So that wraps up the top 10 list. Like I said, I do offer that free class here very, very soon. So if you like what you see, then I want you to get signed up. It'll be very, very soon, this Thursday, October 20th. At 7 p.m. Eastern time. But also, like I said, if you can't make it for whatever reason, go ahead, send me an email, clay@claytrader.com, and I'd be happy to send you a link to the recording. All I would say is, remember, it is a live event, so the event first does have to happen, and then I got to get it uploaded, and then I'd be happy to email you back with the link so you can go and watch it. If you enjoy these top 10 videos, hit that like button, leave a comment below, tell me what you traded today, tell me what you're watching tomorrow. Thanks for watching, everybody. Take care, and hopefully I'll see some of you here in just a few hours.